awareness ramps up for one-day polling centres. Morobe Governor calls on candidates and supporters to show respect. And Secretary says medical supplies dispatched.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Monday's news. The 7 Highlands provinces and the nation's capital have been scheduled for one-day polling. The nation's capital election manager told MTV News today that NCD will have a public holiday for polling day on the 27th of June. Eastern Highlands Province, Chimbu and Jiwaka will be opening polling on the 26th of June. The one-day polling has been scheduled mainly for security purpose for places labelled as high-risk areas.
While polling will open on the 24th of June, actual polling will start on Monday, the 26th of June. For the nation's capital, the election manager, Terence Hetinu, said the nation's capital will have one-day polling on the 27th of June due to security reasons that occurred in the 2012 elections.
Everybody is given a rest from when and day to be able to exercise their democratic right in the election process.
But Patrick Kaiku, a UPNG academic, questioned if one-day polling is a good idea.
2 days is sufficient. You create the first day and you learn from the first day, and then the second day you can conclude the polling. 1 day is just insufficient. It is logistically unrealistic for the electoral officials, as well as learning from the previous experience. We might be polling at around 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning.
The PNG Electoral Commission recently released the gazetted polling dates for the country. For one-day polling, Eastern Highlands Province, Chimbu and Jiwaka will kick off polling on the 26th of June, followed by NCD on Tuesday, 27th of June, then by Southern Highlands Province and Jiwaka on Friday, 30th of June. Western Highlands Province and Enga will have their one-day polling on Tuesday, 4th of July. The Highlands region has been listed as a high-risk zone, and one-day polling may be the easiest way to contain any violence during polling. More discussion on one-day polling will be featured on our first episode of Your Vote 2017 after the news. Adelaide Sirks, Kari National, MTV News.
4 candidates contesting the NCD regional seat have condemned allegations raised against them and published on social media. Candidates Sandy Bawa, Robert Agen, Noel Anjo and Stephen Kilage said these allegations are baseless and total lies fabricated to tarnish their reputation.
Election campaigning on social media took a new direction when early on Sunday morning, Facebook posts were plastered on social media. The post claimed that a group of NCD regional candidates were plotting against the sitting NCD Governor, Powers Pakop's campaign. On Sunday afternoon, this group of candidates denied any involvement in the matter.
If they've got concrete evidence to back their silly idea that they came up with, I invite them. Together with our brothers here, we invite them to bring it over to the police station because the reports, our complaint has already been filed.
They're calling on the authorities to take action against those behind the alleged fake news. Some of them claiming they're not even friends on Facebook to be communicating on the social media platform.
We are people with dignity. We will not resort to things like that, and we would call upon our supporters as well to not to do those sort of Facebook allegations without any evidence and defaming the characters of other people.
While these candidates go on the political rhetoric on the campaign trail, they say facts must be presented. They have reported the matter to the Baroko police. They're calling for the perpetrator to come public and clear the allegations.
Out to the public, go to the voters are there, spell out your policies and reasons why people must vote you into parliament or retain you for the third time. There is no secret about it.
Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Gary Baki has called the Facebook plotting disgusting in today's Post Courier. He says if the plotting is true, then it would be criminal in nature. Harry Agimbari, National MTV News.
For Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, this election is all about the National Alliance Party. With his retirement from politics, the NA founder is on the campaign trail to show support for all NA candidates. Last week, he was up in the Highlands and the reception there shows he is still a political force. This year, NA is fielding a total of 73 candidates, 20 of them in the Highlands provinces.
National Alliance must go back long government. National Alliance is setting up good policy. Long Papua New Guinea. You working good plus something.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has called out the National Alliance to come clean on the funds placed in trust accounts under the Somare-led government. O'Neill said the Somare-led government had delivered more than 8 billion kina when global commodity prices were high, but questions where the funds have gone to. He claimed the PNC-led government had to do a deficit budget to cover their policies on health, education and infrastructure because of the lack of funds in the government accounts. Former PNG Defence Force commander and former Central Province Regional member Ted Darrow has backed certain candidates in the 2017 National General Election. Darrow, who is also the founder of the People's Action Party, is supporting Rigo Open candidate Yamo Launa and Central Regional candidate Joel Oli. He was with both candidates on their campaign trail at Sivitatana village in the Rigo Inland LLG.
It's been 16 years since People's Action Party founder Ted Darrow was in active politics. He is back now, supporting certain candidates, saying the Rigo district and the Central Province are in dire state because of corruption and bad leadership.
There is no other reason whatsoever in the world but bad leaders. Bad leaders are creating this bad country.
Mr. Darrow has thrown his support behind Rigo Open candidate and pioneer sports star Yamo Launa. The 58-year-old is running as an independent candidate. Mr. Darrow is also backing Joel Oli for the Central Regional seat. 60-year-old Joel Oli, a People's Action Party member, is among the 26 candidates vying for the Central Regional seat currently being held by Kila Hauda. Rigo Open candidate Yamo Launa is among the 38 candidates, 8 of whom are women, contesting the Rigo Open seat currently being held by Anopala. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
A candidate contesting the Lagai Pogera seat is campaigning to split the electorate into 3. Contesting under People's National Congress, Natan Perry believes DSIP funds are insufficient to cater for the entire electorate because of the landmass and growing population.
The candidate for Lagai Pogera believes the split of the electorate will enable service delivery evenly. Natan Perry says at the moment there has been lack of basic services and a number of unfinished projects that are affecting the economic income for the electorate.
I have a strong view and my policy is straightforward, that if I'm elected into Parliament, I will try my best within my term in office as member for Lagai Pogera. I will push for the separation of the Lagai Pogera electorate into 3 separate electorates. And I strongly believe that the population would warrant separation of 3 open electorates.
Lagai Pogera has 6 local level governments. Running under the PNC party banner, Perry says the current state of the electorate has seen its people suffering because of the mass population in each LLG and landmass.
We have 2 districts in one particular open electorate. That's a very unique case apart from other districts and open electorate, but we have managed to come this far, and services have not been reached to the respective wards.
In 2012, Perry contested for Enga Governor and lost to sitting member Sir Peter Ipotas. He then filed for an election petition that was dismissed by the National Court. He contested twice for the Enga Governor Regional and is now running for the Lagai Porgera seat. The Lagai Porgera seat has 52 candidates contesting the seat that is held by sitting member Nixon Mangape. Merlin Diaukatam, National MTV News.
Governor for Morobe and regional candidate Kelly Naru held a news conference in late today in light of recent reports of attacks and threats on certain candidates and supporters in the province. He appealed to all those involved in campaign rallies to respect candidates and supporters to ensure a free, fair and safe election is conducted for all in the Morobe province.
The conduct and running and management of this election cannot be said to be left only in the hands of the Electoral Commission and all its agents and people managing the election. I believe that it is our collective responsibility as a nation and as a province and as a people to basically ensure that respect and goodwill is paramount in this election.
When we come back, fire destroys CPL head office, while Diogade and PNG's first female aircraft engineer. Details after the break. Welcome back. City Pharmacy Limited's head office and warehouse at Darrow in Port Moresby was engulfed in flames last night. Properties worth millions of kina, including pharmaceutical drugs, store goods and vehicles, were destroyed. EMTV arrived at the scene this morning to see remnants of the building. Eric Harupma with this report.
According to Pacific Corporate Security guards who were on night duty at the CPL premises, the fire started at 10:15 in the night. Eyewitnesses said the fire started from the kitchen area and eventually spread throughout the entire building.
Around 10:30, Isla PM will kirap. Isla PM kirap. No smoke, flames as well. Flame as well now. First place, because you have the warehouse manager. Time warehouse manager drive only 10 minutes old. Come inside and look at the plus fire take place.
3 fire service units from Geru, Wagani and downtown responded to put out the blaze, but their efforts were in vain.
The City Pharmacy Limited warehouse in Geru was burnt yesterday night. Now this is the lifeline of the company where all the supplies, pharmaceutical goods, including store goods, were destroyed in the fire. As you can see, the fire is still burning.
At the moment, fire service personnel are trying to identify the fire source. Fire service officials have said a detailed report about the incident will be produced after the investigations. Meanwhile, the CPL management is yet to comment on this incident. Eric Arupma, National MTV News.
In the meantime, the Port Moresby Stock Exchange has imposed a trading halt effectively on City Pharmacy Limited shares today. The City Pharmacy Limited Group has requested for this trading halt due to the major fire that destroyed the company's head office and warehouse in Port Moresby. The trading halt for CPL shares is expected to be in place for 2 weeks. CPL requested this trading halt to assess the extent of damages to its business operations. Medicines and supplies have been dispatched to area medical stores across the country. Health Secretary Pascal Kase has assured the public that the Health Department is aware of recently reported drug shortages and is taking action. Mr. Kase says the current emergency situation is not the first PNG has faced and that people have blown it out of proportion.
Mount Hagen Hospital confirmed receiving medical supplies from the Health Department. For other major hospitals such as Engau, Modilon and Halatau, supplies have already been shipped or airlifted. The national government has engaged 4 medical suppliers to address this emergency situation of drug shortages in some of the big provincial hospitals in the country. By this Wednesday and Thursday, other medicines will arrive in PNG from Malaysia and Sydney.
Medicine shortage is not a new thing that we experienced medicine shortage in the country for many times in the past, and today we are seeing it again, and sometimes people blow it out of proportion.
2 weeks ago, those major hospitals in the country were faced with major shortages of medical consumables. There were no antibiotics, IV fluids, gloves, surgical instruments, and other medical drugs. This has forced nurses and doctors to write prescriptions for patients to buy medicines at the pharmacy. Staff of Mount Hagen Provincial Hospital also made public awareness regarding this shortage. The health secretary commended the doctors and nurses in Mount Hagen for doing the awareness. However, he encouraged public hospitals and provincial authorities to do more health promotions consistently.
The Secretary for Health, I'm happy that the doctors and the nurses have taken time to do some awareness to the public, and that's something that the Health Department, through its agencies like Public Hospital and Provincial Health Services and Provincial Health Authority, should do more of it.
Mr. Kase commended the government for proposing to build a new provincial public hospital in Enga. It will be a level 5 hospital and will cost more than 400 million kina, which was funded by China's Import and Export Bank. Kase said it will attract specialist doctors once completed in 2 years' time. Groundwork by a Chinese contractor will start in July. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
The World Yoga Day was celebrated with a walk for life across Port Moresby City on Sunday. Thousands gathered at the Jack Piddick Park, walked along the Poraporana Freeway towards Ella Beach and ended the day with yoga performances. UN Resident Coordinator Roy Trivedi and NCD Governor Poes Pakop were among the participants. Eric Harukma with this report.
The essence of practicing yoga is that it is simple, accessible, and participants do not need special equipment. Practicing yoga gives peace to people's mind and prevent diseases.
So it is more of symbolic that we chose 21st, being a little bit of cosmic relevance. So that's why this 21st was chosen as the day for International Day of Yoga.
Yoga was practiced in India 4,000 years ago under one principle of non-violence.
The initiative of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, His Excellency Mr. Narendra Modi, who has taken this initiative to bring this ancient Indian art, to popularize this ancient Indian art for the benefit of mankind.
UN Resident Coordinator Roy Trivedi said, today yoga is practiced in 192 countries across the world, including Papua New Guinea. The International World Yoga Day came into being following a UN resolution and has been proven to be a remedy to many problems of the world.
3 years ago, the UN General Assembly recognized yoga as something which supports the health and well-being of all citizens throughout the world.
The World Yoga Day was celebrated in Port Moresby with a walk for life from Jack Piddick Park along the Poraporana Freeway to Ella Beach.
We basically, for the first session, we're going to have like a very basic session where during each episode you get to learn basic postures in a yoga class.
Kirap Yoga will soon be aired on MTV. Eric Harukma, National MTV News.
A total of 7 PNGDF personnel from the Air Transport Wing have completed their training in aircraft maintenance engineering and were awarded with certificates today in Port Moresby. Among the 7 was Private Catherine Boa, who is now the first woman aircraft engineer in the PNG Defence Force.
Private Boa, who hails from Manus and Eastern Highlands, told MTV News her achievement comes after years of hard work and dedication. She said she waited for over 9 years for this opportunity.
It was a long wait and I think I'm worth it. Loksim certificate now, it's very, very exciting and we look forward to work with the PNG Defence Force.
Her name is now in the record books as the first women aircraft maintenance engineer with the PNGDF's Air Transport Wing. Boa graduated with 7 other men engineers. They were trained in New Zealand's Nelson Marlborough Institute of Technology.
It's very nice to go down there. Look, comparing all what PNG Defence Force, we learn a lot, and yeah, we'd like to share much experience. Unit, make him come up with a better unit for Defence Force.
Yeah, I should say thank you very much to both training institutions, the aviation skills in Australia, Tamworth, and the NMIT in New Zealand, and the New Zealand Defence Force for making it possible for us to realize today. It's our first graduation, I think, over almost 20 years.
PNGDF Chief of Staff Colonel Ray Numa said the training is part of the 2013 Defence White Paper aimed at modernizing the PNG Defence Force.
We have a target to raise up to 30 technical training and 10 pilots. And at the moment, we are on target with our technical training, and we are halfway through our pilot training.
The graduation also saw other officers graduate with completion certificates in adult trade bridging courses and aircraft maintenance certificates from AV Skills Australia. Stanley Over Jr., National MTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.307, 0.4 Australian dollars, 0.2709 euro and 33.72 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa closed lower while copra closed the day higher. Crude oil closed lower while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 34.38 points higher, the ASX closed at 31.14 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 27.48 points higher. When we come back, International Labour Day and stories making headlines overseas. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Juveniles and primary school children in Mount Hagen City celebrated International Labour and Drug Abuse Day last Thursday. It was hosted by Mercy Works, led by sisters from the Catholic Church, as awareness for school kids on their rights. The International Labour and Drug Abuse Day is celebrated worldwide every 12th of June.
The International Child Labour and Drug Abuse Day was launched in 2002 by the International Labour Organization to focus attention on the global extent of child labour and drug abuse and efforts needed to eliminate it. Ombudsman Commission Highlands Regional Manager Ben Kappen told the school children that kids between the ages of 5 and 6 in Mount Hagen have already been exposed to smoking and drinking. Students were urged not to try smoking and drinking at an early age because of its harmful effects.
This year, we have right to sleep in one house, and we have the right to stop and live.
Some of the children who attended the Child Labour Day in Mount Hagen do not go to school but work for money. They are currently in their early teens and are working as market taxis, carrying vegetable bags for market shoppers. The main message for the human taxis, juveniles and the students was for them to know their rights and understand their obligations. Some ways are for them to get involved in sports, church and be educated.
I'll be close to 50 years old. I'm still playing sports. So sports is one area we find emotion. And be keeping me till now, Mr. And one area we like swimming.
Bonnie Mack was a juvenile till Thursday last week when MTV News interviewed him. He was imprisoned for 2 years for taking part in illegal mining at Porgera Mine and was released on Friday. His story was that he left school at grade 8 to join illegal miners. Today he regrets not having stayed in school. But life is not over for him. He will join the Rabiamol Vocational Center in Mount Hagen, which was organized by the Baisu Jail Welfare Coordinator Peter Tay and the Archdiocese of Mount Hagen.
Me get big lam maslo dislaim overtini diplomilo good blomilos sindalo bian blomiso mimba kam nan joni mol mimba go lugi mol ferens blomi bami tok sawolol na mimba kambeg na lugi mol na stop wande.
The 2017 World Day Against Child Labor focuses on the impact of conflicts and disasters on children. A significant proportion of the 168 million children engaged in child labor worldwide live in areas affected by conflict and disaster. Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
Turning overseas, a 10-day national mourning has been announced for Vanuatu on the passing of President Baldwin Lonsdale. The Vanuatu government also declared June 21st as a public holiday for mourning as well. President Lonsdale was known and loved for his strong stance against corruption in Vanuatu. In the region, he was instrumental in progressing the West Papua cause. President Lonsdale was an Anglican priest and served as Vanuatu's president since September 2014. He died of a heart attack on Saturday. A lawyer from Donald Trump's private legal team has contradicted decisions made by the president himself that he's under investigations from obstruction of justice. It came after Mr. Trump tweeted he was being investigated for firing former FBI Director James Comey, labeling it a witch hunt.
Tonight, the president, back from Camp David, is girding himself for another week of battle. His first tweet this morning, defiant. The Make America Great Again agenda is doing very well, despite the distraction of the witch hunt, he insisted. The president's lawyer, making the rounds today, was at pains to correct the record about a presidential tweet that appeared to confirm he's facing an obstruction of justice investigation after his decision to fire FBI Director James Comey.
The president is not and has not been under investigation.
How do you know?
Because we've received no notice of investigation.
And yet, Trump's own tweet would seem to suggest otherwise. Quote, I'm being investigated for firing the FBI director by the man who told me to fire the FBI director. Witch hunt.
And now he's being investigated by the Department of Justice.
You've now said that he is being investigated after saying that you didn't.
No.
You just said,
no, he's
sir,
not being investigated.
You just said that he's being investigated.
I do not appreciate you putting words in my mouth when I've been crystal clear that the president is not and has not been under investigation. I don't think I could be any clearer than that.
Well, you don't know that he's not under investigation again, sir. I mean,
I cannot read the mind. You're right, Chris. I can't read the mind of the special prosecutor.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
Despite growing concerns, the president may move to fire the special counsel and/or his bosses at the Justice Department. Republican Senator Marco Rubio insisted the investigation should run its course.
Chukai Sports is next. We'll have news on AFL, Hunters and softball. Details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. AFL PNG has named the Mosquitoes and Flames train-on squad for the International Cup in Melbourne, Australia. They will announce the final team at the end of this month. The tournament will be held on the 5th of August to the 19th of August 2017. This will be the 6th International Cup, which will feature both men's and women's teams. The PNG Mosquitoes will be out to defend their title as they take on 18 other countries. Despite the Hunters' embarrassing loss over the weekend, they still sit on top of the Intra Super Cup points ladder. Second-placed Sunshine Coast Falcons also suffered a 36-14 defeat against the Townsville Blackhawks.
After the Falcons lost, the Hunters still remain in first place. They are on 24 points while the Falcons on 23 and Dolphins 22 follow closely behind. The Hunters' defeat saw the team take the field without captain and 5'8" Ase Boas, who has played an integral role in their previous wins. But coach Michael Marum says though they were without Ase, the team was capable of beating Tweedheads.
If Ase was there in there, the 9 wasn't following what we planned to do. And also his brother Watson, but no, not an excuse missing the keeper. We are 13 boys, all capable of playing against sides like this.
Round 15 saw a poor display of football from the top 2 teams. Both teams will be working hard this week on errors encountered during their matches.
We can play better, okay, if we control the football better. Okay, so our sets, okay, and that's where your ups come in, your play legacy. But playing, they can be strong, but they have to be smart about everything you do out there. So, both in defense and attack.
After the Hunters match on Saturday, Tweedheads coach Aaron Zimel said with how hard the Hunters work, he would like to see them win this year's ISC Premiership.
But yeah, that's what it's about. Credit to the Hunters. To this stage of the comp, 15 rounds, they've been able to beat almost every side in the competition, sit at the top of the ladder. And I've got a soft spot there. I'd like to see the Hunters win the competition. I think it would be sensational for PNG. So I wish Michael and the boys all the best for the rest of the year.
Elijah Levette, National, MTV Sports.
Only 2 more weeks remain until the finals of the Port Moresby Corporate Slow Pitch Softball Competition Finals. Remington would meet ANZ while Avis Cruisers face off against Puma Energy. In the other pools, NGCB defeated Telecom 20-15 and ISS defeated MVIL 11 runs to 6. Former corporate softball heavyweights PNG Power suffered their second loss in 2 weeks, losing to Digicel while number 1 Super overcame PNG SF. True Guy Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome back to True Guy Sports. Prima Power is now the women's champion after a 6-0 thrashing over top contender Hekari in the National Premier League Women's Final in Port Moresby over the weekend. In the men's 3rd-4th playoff, Markham FC came away with a gutsy win 1-0 over Momasi counterpart Nawai FC. To rugby, and the New Zealand All Blacks struck again, this time against an inferior Samoan outfit in the test match on Friday in Auckland. The 78-0 win has now lit the fire for them to take on the British and Irish Lions this Saturday.
Heading into the match, it was clear the Samoan outfit dominated possession and territory, but it wasn't long before they realized the All Blacks are truly great. Their clinical performance recorded 12 tries and all went unanswered by Manu Samoa. Pumped from the Sivatau against the All Blacks haka during the pre-match, that energy didn't last long when the New Zealanders put a gain on the match tempo.
Now Smith works it away for free.
After 10 minutes of strong play, Samoan defense weakened and the All Blacks went for a touchdown. While concentrating on defense, the Samoans failed to mount attacks. And in the remaining 10 before break, clinical set pieces from the guys in black saw the score climb with 3 more tries. And returning from break with a troubling 28-0 on the scoreboard, Samoa lost the energy they brought with them at the start of the match. And the tries kept coming.
Nice work by Leonard Brown, got his pass away beautifully, and Israel Dag sailing away to score a try.
Another 8 more tries in that half saw the All Blacks finish high with a 78-0 win. And the final try in the dying minutes of the match was ruled invalid as there was a forward pass in the offload before the scorer reached the in goal. The All Blacks now await the meet with the British and Irish Lions this Saturday. Dinero Strico, National, MTV Sports.
Still on the All Black Samoa game, Manu Samoa returned home to a warm welcome despite the massive loss to the All Blacks. Samoans greeted their players as true heroes. They will face Wales mid this week.
The 78-0 bombardment did not stop patriotic Samoan supporters from acknowledging Manu Samoa's bravery in going up against rugby's great, the All Blacks. A huge crowd turned up at the Faleolo International Airport in Apia this morning to cheer the team. Coach Namalaulu Alama was overwhelmed by the show of support and said the team will pick themselves up. He added they went out to Auckland to find their feet in the competition, and that will now give them a place to start as they work towards performing better. Reflecting on the match, Alama said the loss was disappointing, but they demonstrated that they can play well, and all they need to do now is get themselves together and do well against Wales. Dinero Striker, National, MTV Sports.
To sailing, Emirates Team New Zealand ramped up the pressure on defending champions Oracle Team USA with their fourth successive win in the America's Cup final to go 3-0 up after the second day of racing over the weekend. Oracle had entered the series with a 1-point advantage from an earlier regatta, which New Zealand wiped out after winning the first race on Saturday.
The Kiwi team continued to excel in light wind sailing and again showed superior speed and slick maneuvers, whipping through their 50-foot foiling catamaran around the course at the maximum speed of 38.5 kilometers per hour. Spithill's Oracle team now face an uphill battle to win the 35th edition of the competition, where the trophy is earned by the first team to reach 7 points. New Zealand are closing in on winning the America's Cup, having claimed 4 of the 8 races they need to recapture the world's oldest international sporting competition. Spithill is no stranger to adversity, as he and his team made one of the biggest ever comebacks in the sporting history when they rallied from 8-1 down against New Zealand to win the Old Mug in San Francisco in 2013, when the winner was the first to 9. Kiwi helmsman Peter Berlin, 26, won both starts in 3rd and 4th races as he had on Saturday, which has been a surprise against Spithill, who is famously aggressive on the start line and has greater match racing experience. Both teams sailed well on Sunday, with few obvious mistakes in Saturday's races, and the difference in performance came down to pure speed. The New Zealand team are fast, well-oiled machine with their aerodynamic port of 4 cyclo sailors who supply the energy needed to power the boat's massive wing sail by paddling on bikes. The team's light wind expertise is due in part to an efficient package of hydrofoils that lift the boat out of the water at high speed. The Kiwis' control system, which is manned by skipper Glenn Ashby, means that they can also be fast and accurate going into maneuvers and coming out.
Yeah, well, I think today, was a really good day for us, and we definitely, feel like we improved a lot on yesterday. We tidied up a lot of those little errors that we made, yesterday around the course, and I think that really showed out there. And our team's really hungry to keep learning, keep moving forward, keep improving.
Well, sure. I mean, the guys are disappointed. We wanted a race win today. We've proved we can win races against these guys. We topped the qualifying series for a reason, I think. But clearly these guys have made a step between that time. So now we've got an opportunity. We've got an opportunity of 5 days.
Shane Saroya, National, MTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region: mostly fine and although partly cloudy in Port Moresby, mostly fine and windy in Darrow, fine and windy, then evening shower or 2 in Kerema. Fine and windy, then a few showers later in Alotau and a few showers, then cloudy in Popondetta. In the Momasa region, some showers and thunderstorms, then cloudy in Lae. Mostly fine, although cloudy at times in Medang. fine, then inland light showers in Wewak and mostly fine in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, fine, then a shower or two later in Lorengau, few showers then cloudy in Kavieng, some showers with possible thunderstorms, then cloudy in Kokopo and Rabaul, few showers and thunderstorms, then cloudy in Kimbe and cloudy with some showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, evening shower or two, then early morning fog developing in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that ends National EMTV News this Monday, the 19th of June 2017. Following the news, our first episode of Your Vote 2017 with Neville Choi and veteran journalist and former EMTV News anchor Titi Gabi. From the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.